I said it was bittersweet because my New York Giants won on Sunday morning against the Packers, and the first real quality win of the year, in my opinion. Well, actually, two now. Look at Tennessee for week one, but whatever. But also bittersweet because my New York Mets have been eliminated from the playoffs in Major League Baseball. And I want to kind of put a bow on the season, put it in perspective, if you will, because they won 101 games this year. It was a great year. I mean, the expectations were they were going to be decent this year, possibly a playoff team. You know, obviously now with the new playoff formats now, we allow 6 teams per league, which, by the way, I absolutely love the new format. 3-game series wildcard, 5-game series divisional round, then, of course, the NLCS, 7 games, World Series, 7 games. Fantastic. And if people say I was watering down a little bit, I don't mind it. I don't mind it. Leave it as is right now. 6 teams per league. I love it. You know, 2 buys, the wild cards, all that. The Mets had a great year. 101 wins. I think it was like second best record in baseball, or third best record in baseball, probably this year. But obviously, the taste in the mouth of, you know, what's happened in the last few weeks, and really the last month, or I'll even go as far as say 2 months. You know, leading the NL East for pretty much the entire season, sans what, 9 days, 10 days? Unfortunately, those 10 days happen to be part of those 10 days happen to be the very end of the year. So it was a successful season, obviously. You know, of course, the season started with, you know, signing Max Scherzer, you know, who was great for the most part. DeGrom was great for the most part. Obviously, the start of the year on the DL. The IL. Well, they don't call that anymore, the DL anymore. You know, the injury list, of course. But it's obviously the bad taste in the mouth of how the season ended that has people upset. And I get it. I completely get it. I completely get it. I think what happened here for the Mets especially is that I think, to me, I knew they were in trouble. And the thing is, I can say this because I said this on the podcast. I said this to people that know me well. I knew they were in trouble pretty much after. Well, to me, it started with after when they beat the Braves 4-5, which I think was either late July, early August. That 5-game series and over the weekend when they won 4 or 5 games, and they got control back of the division. It took another like a 6-game leading division again. I think it was after leading most of the year. And credit to the Braves for really fighting all year long. They've been the hottest team in baseball since May. You know, we had a 10-game lead, you know, at one point, and then they came back. But it wasn't like the Mets played bad. They kind of, they played a little mediocre baseball. They weren't playing bad baseball though. The Braves are just gonna lose, and that carried on all the way to now, all the way into the end of the year. They play consistent baseball. But to me, the trouble started, number one, after they beat the Braves in that series 4-5 games. And then you saw the whole thing with the Edwin Diaz, the trumpet thing. They were promoting like that. Which, for the record, I'm not against that. I'm not against. It's good marketing. It was a cool thing. The trumpets, his team to come down to the mound to close out games. And for the record, he deserved it. He's had a great year, and he wasn't the reason why we lost. Why the Mets team lost, because he was perfect this year. But at the same time, it started feeling like in middle August that this team, you know, started reading their press clippings and started believing that. And yet, the Braves kept hounding the team. And then we get to September, and we hear the talk. And this is what bothered me, and I said this on this very show a month ago. Warned you guys. Remember the whole talk? Well, last month of the year, the Mets have the easiest schedule in the world, the easiest schedule in the league in all baseball. Strength schedule is the easiest going forward. And what did I say to you guys on this podcast back in September? That I don't buy in that stuff. You know why? Because of timing. You know why? Because of timing? Because the one thing that happens, and that doesn't baseball, any sport, is when you get to the end of the year, bad teams become dangerous because those players are playing for jobs, are playing for roster spots next year on either the team they're on currently or another team that they might want to showcase to. So a lot of teams are going to want to try to use that opportunity to make some noise and make themselves known to other potential suitors, if you will. So the idea of straight the schedule in September, to me, was ludicrous because those teams come dangerous. And then they lose to the Nationals 2 out of 3. Nationals are the worst team in baseball this year. Then they get swept by the Cubs also, I think right after that. Okay? Don't tell me baseball games don't matter. Everybody says, "Oh, it's a long year, 162 games, in the season. It doesn't matter. It's a long year. No big deal." The Mets and Braves ended up tied, and then at the end of the season, if the Mets win even one more game, if they win one game against the Nationals or one game against the Cubs in September, they get a bye week. Okay, bye week, or bye, whatever you call it. Don't tell me it doesn't matter. It does matter because you win one of those games, they got a bye. A tiebreaker caused the Mets to miss the bye. And then, of course, the travesty of all, the last weekend of the regular season, you had the showdown against the Braves, up one game. All you need is one win. And the best part, you have your ducks in a row. You have your 3 aces. You have Jacob deGrom, Max Scherzer, Chris Bassett, 1, 2, 3, Friday, Saturday, Sunday to go. Just get one win. And you couldn't do it. And of course, the playoffs happen. Game 1, Max Scherzer gets the call. And I knew the series was over. Once Scherzer lost game 1 against San Diego on Friday, I knew the series was over. I knew it. It just felt that, okay, it's happening again, the Mets. And yes, it was a collapse. This was a collapse. Because the reason this is a collapse for me is because all the opportunities this team had to get the job done, just one win. Just one win. You win one game that weekend, you're NL East champions, and you get a bye. And that can happen. And of course, you see what happened on Sunday. They won game 2, of course. Well, lost game 1 with Scherzer, which obviously was like, wow. You got destroyed. Game 2, of course, they win. DeGrom comes in and saves it. And they were planning on saving DeGrom for the next series, hopefully. But obviously you couldn't do that because you needed him to win game 2. But I had a feeling that they were toast in game 3. And that had nothing to do with Chris Bassett. Bassett has had a good year also to himself. But it just felt, if you're a Met fan as long as I've been, this is kind of written in the stars. This kind of feels like, okay, we're used to letdowns. We're used to collapses. And to me, what made me upset about Sunday was it wasn't that they lost the series or lost game 3 to San Diego. It's the way they lost. One fucking hit the entire game. One fucking hit for your season. One hit. And then, of course, you have the whole thing with Buck Showalter, who's had a fantastic year, should probably be considered manager of the year in the National League. Although I'm not sure if they include playoffs that as well too. But Showalter going in there in the 6th inning, desperate, of course, asking the umpires to check Joe Musgrove's the pitcher his ears, see if there's any substance going on there. Of course, nothing was in there. Only pissing off the Padres more. Bad look. Desperation. And if only you did your job. If only you did your job. Win one mumbling game. Either against the Nationals in September, against the Cubs when he gets swept, who are really bad as well too, or against the Braves, which are aces, ducks in a row with the aces ready to go. And he couldn't do it. They didn't deserve to win it. They didn't deserve to win the series, playoff series. They didn't deserve it. As good as they were this year, opportunity knocks, and they couldn't come through. It's just that simple. So yeah, it was a very bittersweet weekend for me, of course. But as a Met fan I've been for over 30-something years, we keep going. Let's ride. Let's keep going. And see next year, hopefully, and obviously we got to figure out if will the Mets re-sign Jacob deGrom? Does deGrom want to stay in New York? He seems to have one foot out the door anyways. It is. Did the Mets go after Aaron Judge? Who knows? A great year that left a bad taste in my mouth.